Hello and welcome to another episode of Ivy Backed. I am Austin Harrison, and this show is a show about looking at active crowdfunding campaigns from a publisher's perspective. Chim from our Discord is literally sending me another page to look at right now. Chim, I can't do that. I'm live right now. But I'm really excited to look at some really cool campaigns today. We've got, of course, Elder Scrolls Skyrim live. We got Power Plants and Trinity of Rain that we're looking at. I might try to look at this other one that I have not looked at all that Jim just sent me, so maybe I'll look at that. But yeah, excited to jump in and look at some stuff here. But yeah, thanks for joining me on this Tuesday afternoon. I'm taking off a lot of this week, and I went to the zoo this morning with my son, so it's been a good day. But yeah, I'm excited to take a look. All right, so let's start with the big one. Let's start with Skyrim. I'm gonna try something new. Gonna be pretty small myself here in order to make the page bigger. Just because I want you guys to be able to see what's happening, and no one really needs to see my face. But yeah, I want to talk about some really cool things, some things I like about this page, some things that I think they made decisions on. That I totally get why they made those decisions, and it might not be as obvious to other people just because they aren't a publisher. So I thought that could be cool to talk about. But overall, yeah, excited to dig in and take a look. And I don't have comments up, so I want to bring those up. Not on my game today, apparently. All right, so already at 377 pounds. I believe that is pounds. Where are these people? Modifius Entertainment. London. All right, they are in London. This is their first game found. It is not their first crowdfunding campaign. They have done quite a few Kickstarters, some of which some people in our Discord have backed. They have had some recent, I don't want to say drama. They've had some recent campaigns deliver where there were some problems. And so I recommend you go do that research for yourself. I'm not necessarily going to be talking about past projects. I'm focusing on this project, but it is always good to know about track records. But also, you need to have some grace for people. I mean, as someone that has a late game right now, I understand how hard it is to deliver during pandemic. And so, yeah, as long as they're being communicative and are trying to fix things, I think it's good to give people some grace. But also, this entertainment or this IP. This intellectual property, that's what IP stands for, is so big they will overcome a lot of that because there's going to be a lot of people backing this game that have not really seen anything about that. They don't either know who this company is, they're just backing it because of Skyrim. But yeah, let's dig in. So right away, you got 3 quotes here. I like seeing quotes as actual design blocks just because it brings more attention to it. If you can hear a baby screaming in the background, I apologize. I have an 8-month-old. It's a thing. It happens. But yeah. I usually prefer it being designed just so you can actually, it's a little bit more eye-catching. You pay attention a little bit more to it. But then also, they do have it hyperlinked here, and I want to see where these hyperlinks go. They go, I'm guessing, to the preview page. All right, so this is just the video that Alex has there, which is fine. I do think that navigating people away from your page can be bad because they might never come back to your page, right? They might see something else on a YouTube link and be like, I'm interested in that. I'm going to go look at that. And then 3 hours later, they're like, I was looking at the page. I'm just going to close it. So I do think it's important to keep people on your page wherever you can. That being said, I did things on Mythic Mischief just recently that navigated you away from the page. We had the quiz that took you to a different page. We had, what else? I'm sure we had other stuff, but it's not always a bad idea, but it is something that I definitely want people to be aware of just as a consumer too. Don't forget that you're looking at a page. We want you to look at it. Introduction here. Before the Dragonborn came to Skyrim, you were surviving members of the Blades. All right, so this is before the Dragonborn came. A legendary group who long protected the Empire of Tamriel. Abandoned by the Empire, you must work together to thwart a plot which threatens the whole of Skyrim. So interesting that they chose to go before the Dragonborn, but then all the iconography and all the stuff is still about the dragons. As someone that played Skyrim, I think it's an interesting choice. But then they do have a expansion that is the from the Ashes expansion, which I believe is more dragon themed, which makes sense. So there are 3 reward tiers. You've got the base game, which is going to be, let's see, let's just look at the rewards. I've got the featured tier at the top, which is the most expensive. I really don't like GameFound that does this. I wish it just didn't do that. I wish they were all on the side, but yeah, it's fine. This is not a Skyrim problem. It's a GameFound annoyance of mine. But $68 pounds, excuse me, is the entry level for that. And then it looks like the gameplay is going to be 140 pounds. So not a cheap. That's a pretty hefty conversion rate to dollars. So it's definitely not a cheap game to get into. I am curious what this is in US dollars. Is it going to tell me? Yep. It's not going to convert it for me. That's fun. It has to convert it, right? Why is it not converting it? Oh, well. That's fine. Anyone want to put that in a conversion thing for me and send it to me? I really wish they had it on the page. I know that it fluctuates, but I wish that it was in US dollars somewhere, because I don't think it is. It is not. That's frustrating, especially because Skyrim's got to have a very, very large US audience. I wish it was there. All right, cool. The board is huge. I don't know if you saw any of the videos. I watched some of Alex's video. It's really big. Age 14 plus, 90 to 120 minutes per chapter. $93. Thank you, Robert. Andy coming in at 95. Thank you, guys. That is very, very helpful. So it is not a cheap entry level. However, it is a big game, so that is not surprising in any way, right? I like this Why Back Now. This is maybe one of my favorite Why Back Nows. My Why Back Now sections are always super long because I want to tell everyone in like 20 paragraphs why they need it back now. And then Sam comes along and Sam's like, no, Austin, this is too long. No one's going to read this. Make it shorter. So Sam reduces it to be major headlines and then supporting text below it. But this is just, you don't have anything to read. It's just really quick, looking at it, snappy. So I really, really like this. I want to do this in the future on my pages, but I won't because I love being over communicative. And Sam maybe will convince me to do this. But Tabletop Simulator demo, special pricing, first wave shipping, GameFound exclusive, pledges from, hey, there it is, 95 US dollars. Is that the only place it is? They already did the conversion. Just put it down here. So they at least did it there. Okay. They get some points back. Aaron, don't tell me there's a thing when I just found it. All right. So I like that a lot. A cooperative or solo adventure board game with hundreds of hours of gameplay. Select your hero, travel across the holds, attempt evolving narrative quests, fight dangerous foes, upgrade your character and gear. The games change with each chapter you play and the decisions you make. So this type of game makes sense for this publisher because they do a lot of RPG. They do some RPG games and work. So that I want to look at their other IPs, but I'm blanking on it. But I know that they've done other RPG type games. So long stories and narrative pathways make sense. Okay. Reward tiers. The gameplay tier is mostly just the expansions. And then there's a deluxe tier that comes with the septums, which is the money. And then it comes with a mat. And then what is that last thing it comes with? What's that fourth box? Miniatures upgrade set is what it is. So does the base game come with any miniatures? It comes with hero miniatures. So this is something I want to talk about. So I found this to be interesting. The hero miniatures are actually already exist. They're a part of another set. It might be like an RPG set that the company's already done. They obviously have to have the ownership of the minis, but these minis are not new. And so the sculpting, the molds, all of that is already paid for. And well, why would a company do that? Well, it's a really, really great way to save money. There are some downsides. One, if someone already owns that game, then they're paying twice for minis they already have. So maybe you want to do some kind of option where those minis aren't included. However, then you have another problem, and that's a whole different production line. Like someone's going to say, well, I don't want to pay for those minis. Why am I paying for them? It's because it actually is more expensive for us to make games that don't have them in there because it means a different line of production. And so it's a little bit of like an awkward thing. And then it's also like, well, I'm paying $95 for this game, but you're not having to remake minis or do molds. You've already got the sculpts and the molds, which are the two most expensive parts of making minis. The plastic is not expensive. The storage can be kind of expensive because you usually have to do some kind of custom design thing, but the molds and the design of it are the most expensive parts. So for a $95 game, is it mostly just cards at that point and a board? And it does seem to be that, but you got to remember on a campaign game like this where there's just tons and tons of content, a lot of the money is going into the story and the design and things like that. So I do think it's a little bit of not a challenge, it's just a communication challenge that they're going to have to overcome because there's just not a ton of plastic in this $95 base game. Whereas if you go back a couple of weeks ago, or if you look at, anything by Awakened Realms at a $95 pledge level, there's going to be a ton of plastic in it, and it's all custom, it's all brand new. And so competition wise, just looking at the two, if you weren't looking deeply enough, you would just be like, well, this is not worth $95. And whether it is worth it or not is in the eye of the beholder, as they say. But what a lot of people will forget about is that something like, what is the Awakened Realms game that is live right now? I'm sure if I scroll up, it'll be at the top. It is Lords of Ragnarok. There we go. This is not a story game, right? Like the money that you are paying is going into the miniatures, and then there's gameplay. I'm not saying there's not gameplay, and it didn't take a ton of balancing and a ton of work. It did, but writing a story and basically an RPG and a board game at the same time is going to be more of an investment there. So, and then also this is an IP, and IPs are expensive, especially big IPs like this. Aaron says some IPs this company has worked with is Homeworld, Dune, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Agatha Christie. I think that is later in the page. Thank you, Aaron. I did ask that and I forgot those. Thank you so much. Jumps to 112 after the early bird / anniversary. Also, base tier doesn't get any stretch goals. Seems rough. Ooh, yeah. If the base tier doesn't get those stretch goals, like Chris is saying, then that is not a tier you should back. Why? Because it's probably going to be a retail. So you're giving someone $100 now plus shipping for a year, 2 years, 3 years, depending on what you want to be optimistic about the company being able to deliver in that time frame. And you're not getting anything different or unique moving forward, right? So this is not the type of stance I usually like to take, but I'm not saying don't back this. I'm saying don't back this at base game. Back this at gameplay or higher if you're going to back it. So yeah, I'm guessing that's what all gameplay tier unlocks are, Chris. That makes sense because gameplay and deluxe tier unlocks. So they've got different tiers of unlocks. All right, let's keep on looking through what you get in each tier. Plus all gameplay unlocks, plus all gameplay and deluxe unlocks. Good eye, Chris. Good eye. All right. So base game, we kind of got through this once. We're going to go through it again. Dawnguard expansion comes with 4 new hero miniatures and a new campaign book. So just expanded on the campaign. And then from the ashes, there is dragon tokens. So that's a good sign. All right, miniature upgrade set. So this red plastic is, I'm guessing, enemies that you're going to be fighting. Without knowing too much of how the game is played, right, it's hard to know what those will be used for because it mostly looks like you're just moving around the map. It's not like it's not like you're playing an Awakened Realms game. I've used their name like 100 times this episode, but where you're actually tracking like 5 dudes in one area, and it's not like an area control game. So I'm not quite sure what they're used for yet, but hopefully we'll figure that out as we continue on in the page. The roaming dragons. So something that I really want to see here is scale, right? Scale is so important when you're talking about miniatures, and that's something that other campaigns do really, really well, where they'll show you this is an inch or this is this mini in reference to this mini. And just seeing these 3 dragons here is really, really underwhelming because they actually look smaller than the other minis, but I actually think they're probably bigger, right? Practice what I preach, Robert. I don't know what I'm practicing or what I did wrong. Tell me in the comments. All right. So I just don't know. I don't know what I need to see there, but I think having them either be a size bigger if they are bigger or having some kind of scale reference here would be really, really helpful. All right. Gameplay overview. Draw an event card each turn. Explore caves. This almost is like to me, the event card each turn feels kind of like, it probably isn't, but feels kind of like the road and city cards in Gloomhaven. Explore caves, mines, tombs, ruins, and Dwemer. How do you guys say that? I can never remember. You're backed at the base pledge. Hey, I am backed at the base pledge because we hadn't looked at the page together yet. So I'm going to change it. So there, Robert. That's why I don't like using my accounts active when I look through things. I'm not on Kickstarter, so you won't be able to do it to me there. Ha, gotcha. All right. To defeat your enemies, experience and treasure, develop up and level up and learn new unique skills. I really want like the, sneak 99. Like I want that. And that's just because I played the video game. Obviously, it would be really hard to have, 0 through whatever number stats in a board game because it's really hard to track by one, where in video games it's super easy. But I really want to have like that in the game just because I really like that in the video game. Enchant and upgrade your gear in strongholds, meet interesting characters, go on side quests, and gain components and rewards. All right. Stretch goals overview. Unlocks. Chapter 1, Chapter 2, more unlocks. Hey, there it is. This needs to be up higher. It needs to be right here. That should just be one giant dragon. And it still says 3 roaming dragons. We all can do the multiplication in our head. But yeah, that gives us a little bit more scale, which we really, really need. Man, you guys are jumping on me. All right. Kevin says, personally, I thought I'd be more excited about this game. The presentation doesn't seem as appealing as other big games I've seen. We'll get to that maybe. I am still excited about the game. I'm backing it at least the base game pledge, as Robert has pointed out. Some things that I definitely don't want to stay at the base game for is because I don't think that this would be in there. So welcome to Whiterun, the Elder Scrolls Skyrim, the adventure game. Base game has been funded. So that's the first chapter. There's nothing to unlock there. It's just they funded. Chapter 2, A World of Corpses. Solitude. When all seems lost, you will find allies in the most unusual places. Alternate character miniature sculpts. Male Nord, male Imperial, female or Samir. So it looks like they are deviating from those original models. So this would be new molds. This would be new, at least a little bit of sculpting. You can usually take an original sculpt and be like, hey, I just want this character to be molded or modeled slightly differently. And that's not like a huge ask, but it is some cost for sure. And it looks like we're getting alternate sculpts on all of these. My question is this, do you get to choose? Is it just automatic that now all the sculpts are this once you reach this? Just in the expanded games, and the base games will still have the old sculpts? Because what if I like the old sculpt more as a backer? Like just as someone that's ran campaigns, I know what the backers are going to ask. Running the different box versions on Veiled Fate was a terrible mistake. I wish we would just done one box and it would have been so much easier because everyone's like, well, I want this box. And it's like, well, you're getting the Kickstarter exclusive version, so you need the nice box. And they're like, no, I want the old box. It's like, okay, that's fine. You can do that. But like that's going to be something that's going to come up if it hasn't already. Is like, well, is this automatic? Do we get to choose? And at that point, you're having 2 molds, which is expensive for plastics. I mean, a plastics mold can be like $5,000, and so it's not very cheap to do. And then you have an assembly issue too. I'm just rambling at this point. This seems small, right? Like it's like cool, like the characters are posed slightly different, but it's actually a massive logistical headache. It's like cool, like how do we have different SKUs and different barcodes for when they're sculpted slightly different? Like how does all that work? So Chris says, I think it'll be additional minis in addition to your base ones. So you can choose how your character looks as you play. No actual gameplay difference. Robert says, sounds like the intention is to let everyone choose between male versus female, regardless of which character they choose. Okay. Alternate character miniature sculpts. I agree with you that sounds like it could be that, but I don't see that. Like it doesn't, nothing here tells me that I'm getting 3 more minis. Am I wrong? Did I miss something? I don't see like an asterisk here that's telling me it could be 12 miniatures or 18 miniatures, because those are the original 6. There are a lot more. And that's the same miniature there. I guess it's an alternate of that one. we'll keep going. More unlocks coming soon. Updates that feature stretch goal unlocks not available. Why no unlocks for the base game? Some projects remove game content from the base game to make it look like you're getting stretch goals for the base game. We decided to give you everything in the base game from day one and focus on unlocks and adding content that really did increase our production costs in the expansion boxes. I can respect that. I like that. That feels like our approach, kind of. We just put everything in from the beginning, but at least they're not trying to do the smoke and mirrors thing, right? So I like this. I just need to know more about this. There's just not enough explanation here for me to know what I'm actually getting. And if it is additional minis, if there are 10 more minis in the game now, like, I want to know that, because that's a huge value. 10 extra minis. Like, even if I hated the game, like, I play a lot of, like, I run D&D campaigns. I haven't been playing much recently because, as you can hear, I have a baby. But like that would be really important for me to know, just like, how much am I going to want to invest in this game? Oh, I'm getting 10 more minis by going up to this next level. All of that I could use as hero minis in future games. Great. That's wonderful. Cool. All right. Chris is saying, just down a little bit, when you get to the stretch goal boxes, you can click to get a little more detail. Sounds good. Let's do it. Updates that feature stretch goal unlocks not available. I don't understand what that means. More unlocks coming soon. I guess it's just coming there. All right. Social lockpicking challenge. Ooh, I love lockpicking in the base game. So obviously this is just social unlocks that you can do. I don't know quite what the unlocks are. Lockpicks open treasure chests. Okay, cool. So treasure chests are probably going to get us something. That's just fun. I'm okay with that being vague. That doesn't bother me. The 35,000 likes. Mercy. Facebook. I'm not going to do this. Someone go to their Facebook and tell me how many likes they currently have. That is a lot. I mean, they could be really high. They've got a lot of other big campaigns with a bunch of big IP. Tell me how much that is. Time stretch goals. I don't see time stretch goals. It looks. Oh yeah, no. I see what you mean. I know that there's more unlocks coming. Updates that feature stretch goals unlocks. I just don't even have that on the page. Just add it when you do have updates that feature stretch goal unlocks. It's just weird to me that that's there right now with an NA. Alex, what is up? All right. Link to all the socials. It's right here. Look at Austin being silly. How many likes do they have? There's already 33,000 people. That's not hard. I want to know that here. Put that here so I know we only need 2,000 more likes. Because 35,000 likes, I'm like, I'm not even wasting my time to go do that. That's unattainable. But it's actually 2,000 Facebook likes. That's attainable. That's easy. Everyone go like that. Because I want to see what these are. These are cool. I like this. This is my second favorite part of the campaign page so far. My first favorite, remember, is this Why Back Now section. I actually think this is way better than most people's. And I would never do it this way, and I would need someone on my team to tell me to do it this way, just because I want way more information. But like this is all the information. Like the special pricing, as far as like encouraging someone to buy, they don't necessarily need to know what it is right there. They just need to know that it's there. Like I have a great idea of what all these things are just by reading that one little blurb. Okay, back on into the stretch goals, passing that. Stretch goals unlocked. All right, moving through this. This is sculpts. This is what Chris was telling me to look at. Ilya, thank you. Robert, thank you. Sebastian, hello. It is good to see you. Chris, I figured it out. I figured out that it is not what they already have. There includes what they already have. But they need to put that there, like say like, hey, we're at 33,000, you got to get to 35,000. I understand that's bigger and doesn't fit as well, but like, I just don't think people are going to be encouraged to do it when it's like, we have to get 35,000 likes. Oh my gosh. All right. I'm going to actually try to figure this out now. Upon reaching the stretch goal, we'll add the following alternative character miniature sculpts to the miniature upgrade set included in the deluxe tier and available as an add-on. Female Argonian, male Breton. Once we unlock this goal, we'll post an update with detailed images of the new sculpt. All right, so what that means is these unlocks are only for the blue Tier, which is this line here. It's even color coded. It has the man inside the blue circle. So these are all, so far, all their stretch goals have only been for their highest tier. So yeah, it definitely is what that is. Very, very clear here that that's what it is, but up here is not quite clear enough for me. I would almost say don't even have this. If you have this, you don't necessarily need this. Okay. But the more unlocks coming soon is a good thing because GameFound kind of makes it really opaque on. Are we getting more? Is this all of them? There are only 5 stretch goals this whole campaign. Okay, cool. All right, Chris says the first social stretch goal requires 4 lockpicks, i.e., 4 of those things to be reached, and the reward is a print and play adventure. That seems really bad. Where are you seeing the reward on this? Updates that feature the social goal unlocks. NA. Okay, so this is the first lock that can be unlocked, the thing that can be unlocked. I didn't even know this was tied to this. So I want that to be a little bit more clear. I might put that up one section. I actually just skipped it. I skipped right over it. Dragor mini campaign. Okay, cool. Man, Chris has really been over this page. Is this it right here? Tombs of Overflow, part 1. Every social goal hit grants a lockpick. 4 lockpicks unlock this reward. Upon reaching this stretch goal, will include a print and play mini campaign featuring Draugr to both the gameplay and deluxe tiers. Are you an Elder Scrolls Call to Arms wargame fan? You'll be able to swap out the printable enemy tokens with your Draugr minis for this adventure. After you reach the goal, keep your eyes peeled for a featured update where we go into more details on mini campaigns. It's fun. I think it's not a bad thing, and it is just social goals. But I get what you're saying, Chris. I don't think it's terrible. It's especially if you're already have the other game. It definitely seems like having the other game helps you, but then the minis matching that other game might also hurt you a little bit. So I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. All right, moving on. Deluxe tier, 220 pounds. It's a lot of US dollars. It's got to be over $300, right? US, around $300 US. Someone do that. Alex says PnP goals are never fun. I mean, they're never fun just because I never do them. I don't take the time to print them out, so maybe that's why they're never fun for me. Okay. You can add the miniatures upgrade set by itself at 55 pounds, which at that point, just get the deluxe tier. Because it comes with the coins and the mat, and then honestly, it's not that much difference. You're getting that stuff for 30 pounds, which it is. They don't have the mat listed here, so I don't quite know how to do that. All right, here's that other game. Call to Arms starter bundle. Are these the same sculpts as the other game? That's the question I have. All right, gameplay. I'm spending way too long on this. I need to be through this by 5. So, all right. There are some playthrough things. That's good. There's the rulebook here. We're hitting a lot of check marks as like things required for a good campaign for me. Thank you, Sebastian. I thought it was 300. Beep says not giving it to the base game pledge when it's a print and play seems odd too. Good point, Beep. Good point. Is it not included? It's not. It's only the head tier. That'll be on the internet. That'll be on Reddit the day after it's unlocked. So not a huge deal, but still, if it's a print and play, just give it to everybody. Yeah, I agree. A little weird. All right. So rulebook playthrough, got that. Rules introduction, got the gifts, which is fun. Choosing a character, and we are getting equipment, and we are. I'm guessing this is the event cards. Let's see. New event. Yep. Vampires and Daedra invade the 9 holds. Okay. We're moving around the board. We're exploring things. It's giving me a little bit of a Journeys of Middle Earth vibe. Alex, Journeys of Middle Earth vibe for you? A little bit? It gave me a huge Journeys of Middle Earth vibe, but I might be wrong. Okay. Mysterious NPCs await in cities and in the wild. Okay. Dungeon tombs and other. Okay, so this seems like the battle section. Looks unique, and I mean that in a good way. It's not just, D6s with numbers. It's D6s with symbols and matching symbols and stuff. Alex doesn't like journeys. We can still be friends. I haven't played that much. I've played like 6 scenarios. It's not my favorite game, but I like it. But that might just because I love Lord of the Rings so much. Although, to be fair, I've played maybe like 6 scenarios of Journeys of Middle-earth, and I've used the minis in a Lord of the Rings D&D campaign like 10 times. So I've apparently used the board game for what it was not intended for more than I've used it for what it's intended for. So maybe you're right. Dane, I'm getting too critical. I know I need to be less critical. I am excited about this game. I am a Skyrim fan. I have tried to rein in my critiques a little bit. I do think that you should not back this game at the base pledge. So I'm actually getting them more money. I'm not being critical. I'm helping them make more money. Don't back this at the base pledge. If you're going to back it at least at the second tier. So there. Okay. All right. I hear you, Alex. Loves Lord of the Rings. Well, we can just get together and play a Lord of the Rings D&D game, and that'll be fun. All right. Quest cards give you options. I'm going to skip through this. Watch our gameplays videos to find out more gameplay videos. Is there going to be more videos? I hope so. There's probably more later on the page. This is a fun GIF. I thought this was fun. I have no idea what they used to make this, but I like it. I hope they use that on ads. Oh no. How do you not like DM? You just haven't had a good DM. I'm going to say that, and I'm going to believe it. I know that's rude of me to invalidate your opinion by saying you just haven't had a good experience, but I'm going to run a game. And you will love it. And if you don't love it, you'll lie to me. Try the tutorial in TTS. Another good check mark for me. I've already had a good feedback from Alex that he did like the game and thought it was very fun. I have heard a lot of people say that the art was something that they weren't expecting because it does use a lot of the video game art. So they were expecting a new fresh coat of paint, and it didn't necessarily have that. As someone that likes the nostalgia of the video game, it doesn't bother me that much. But maybe it would bother Zach. I'm not sure. Cool. All right. So here we go with a lot more videos. I'm going to skip all of these. Whoa. Development begins. That third quote under reviews, top notch. Look at that. If you're familiar with Skyrim, the video game, this definitely does carry over a lot of the core concepts of the video game. Hey, I am familiar with it. Thanks, Alex. Okay. I want you guys to look at something real fast. Do you see this gap between videos here? And then there's an overlap of videos here. I want to be very clear. That is not Skyrim's fault. That is GameFound's fault. The GameFound like video uploader embed thing, like you have to put a certain number of spaces in between, and like you have to like label them with numbers and then go back and delete the numbers and like all kinds of silly stuff to get it to line up right. If not, it looks like this. So this doesn't bother me at all from their standpoint. GameFound does need to fix that part of their uploader. Alex says, that is a weak quote. Doesn't make it clear. I like it, which I do. If you ever run a campaign, ask for quotes. Don't rip quotes. You can rip quotes if they don't give you a quote, and if you really need a quote, or if the quote is exceptionally good, you can rip it. But like, honestly, people don't like being quoted out of context. Just ask for a quote. Cool. Shipping and production. Tooling has been completed and approved, whilst all game development and graphic design has been completed and approved by Bethesda. So they're saying that everything's approved by Bethesda, but then up here at the it says components subject to change and licensor approval. So I think that's a little weird. It's probably because they're adding more sculpts to this. Although they were saying they were trying to avoid the smoke and mirrors of like the expansions or the add-ons, the stretch goals. But if all of them have been sculpted, like it says here, then those alternate sculpts might already be done. We're using the GameFound project to help gauge total demand and give hardcore Skyrim fans a chance to get the game early. Your support also helps us unlock a few extra items that we want to add and are already designed but are on hold until the support levels are gained. They're not doing smoke and mirrors. They're telling you right there. It's already designed. They're just trying to add it to the game, and they're not sure if they can. Cool. Good on them. All right. Overall, a couple thoughts. I like the page a lot, and they did some things really, really well. And I like things like social goals. I think there are just a few little weird nitpicky things. I really like their Why Back Now section. I like how transparent they are being. I don't like that it is hard for me. I find the thing that I'm like, they're not being transparent about this. And then I find the answer that is like, it's transparent. And I want that to be flipped. I want them to be transparent and then show it to me. Like I want that to be higher. I know it's weird to have like a shipping and production thing higher than that, but like they have this man, I'm scrolling around this page so much. They have this like stretch goal thing here, why no unlocks for the base game. Like I think having the information that their sculpts are already done and they're just trying to gauge what all they can add to the game production wise. I would love to have that there or higher up, just because it would stop me asking a bunch of questions in my head. All right. Development began in 2018. Oh man, did life change a lot. I bet they were planning on launching this way sooner, and then the pandemic happened. Beta development, concept approval, external testing, and final development. They've been working on this for a while. Graphic design and 3D sculpting beginning of this year. Game found command, obviously, right now. Production starts in China next month, and then shipment from China in May, fulfillment in August. That is, if everything is actually done, which it sounds like it is, a very believable timeline, because production will start in December, but really it won't. They'll get the sampling, which it sounds like they've already done, and then they'll start production, and then they'll hit Chinese New Year, and China will take off for a month, and then Chinese New Year will end, and then they'll finish production and assembly, and they'll get on a boat, and then it'll come. So, yeah. There's no hiding from the fact that sea freight between China and the rest of the world is very problematic and costly at the moment. Even so, there are no viable alternatives for a game of this scale to be made outside of China. Agreed. There is none. People hopefully are not commenting, telling them to try. It does not exist. You might be able to do Poland, maybe, but the game's going to be more expensive, and it's not easy to ship from Poland either. So go figure. For now, we have factored this increasing shipping cost into the margins and MSRP of the game. One of the reasons it's expensive. One of the reasons we've worked hard to complete everything in advance of this launch of this project is to minimize any possible delays that might affect you. Agreed. This is exactly how we had to do Mythic Mischief, because we were in the middle of Veiled Fate and we're like, we can't do this again. This is insane. Like, it's just not working. Because it was just delay after delay after delay. As you know, you've probably a fan. You probably backed Veiled Fate since you're watching this. And this is the reason. That campaign is the reason we did everything for Mythic Mischief ahead of time. And this is something that they're doing right now too. They have also had delayed campaigns. They have also had problems like this, like we're having on Veiled Fate right now. I don't know the scale of it. I didn't back any of those other campaigns. But it seems like, and I want to be clear on this because this is a big conversation in our Discord earlier this week. It seems like they have learned from that, and there is nothing that could hold up like their other campaigns have in the past, the delivery of the game. Now, I say that, and I mean, China could just shut off the power to their factory. That happened for Veiled Fate. No amount of having files ready to go and approved will prepare you for that, right? So anyway, it's interesting. Chris says there aren't quotation marks, so maybe it doesn't count. Just seems silly to have it look like a quote and tell you to read an interview somewhere else. That's funny. Okay. Shipping chart. Base game, £15, and it goes all the way up to £18. So it's like $25 shipping probably for the big one. It's not cheap, but it's not terrible. It's about what you'd expect for that many boxes. It was like 4 boxes, so I'm not surprised about. Excuse me, not surprised about that. If you are in the UK, USA, Canada, EU, or Australia, you will not have to pay VAT duty on your rewards, as they will be shipped internally from within your country. What? What? You still have to pay VAT when you take it into the country? I don't get that. I hope that doesn't come back to bite them. They need to talk to somebody. Like, even if they're not shipping it from within every EU country, and even when you put it in the country, you have to pay VAT on it. I don't believe that is how VAT works. I'm not a VAT expert. I'm not a tax expert. Do not take any tax advice from me. But I do not believe that is how VAT works. I'm worried about that. Because I mean, we're shipping from within the UK on Mythic Mischief. I'm 100% sure we have to pay VAT when we bring it from outside the UK and put it in a warehouse inside the UK. So I don't think that is possible. The only way it would be possible, and even then I'm not sure, is if they literally were working with a third-party company for every region that was a completely different subsidiary that was paying for the games and then importing them directly. But even then, I think you pay that because it wasn't produced inside the country. And there's no way they have an office in every single EU country. All right, I've been overly negative. I need to stop. I do not think that is how that works, and I'm worried about that. Cool. Hello, Jessica. Hey, Silver. All right, languages. Many partners would like to translate this game from English into different languages. Currently, we are in talks to produce the following editions. All right, so if this is the case, if they are talking to people about all these different language editions, then it is quite possible that they're working with a third party that is going to take ownership of the project and deliver it within their countries. I still think that they're going to run into some VAT problems, though, and I mean those aren't even in place. So if they don't have that relationship, I don't think they can say that thing about that. So, but I'm not a tax lawyer. If they have found a way to not pay VAT in those places, I want them to call me and be like, "Hey, Austin, you're wrong, and here's why. Here's how you save $100,000 and get more Europeans to back your game." Great, let's do it. I would love that. Okay. So here's some of the previous work we talked about. They've done some James Bond. They've done Star Trek. They've done Fallout. I love Fallout. Would love to play a role-playing game in Fallout. That sounds incredible. And then they've done a few board games. It might not be a board game. 2-player starter set. I know that Fallout has done a few things with Fantasy Flight, right? So definitely probably not a license they still have. But yeah, cool. All right. Oh no, how much am I? Oh no, I'm at 41 minutes. Why, Austin? You could have skipped so much. You could have been less negative and just cruised through. Guys, it's not my goal to be negative on this. I should have looked at the page more just to know how to avoid some of the hot areas. Because I mean, we're a publisher too. We get their problems. We get their things we don't understand. Like, I am not an expert. If you want a true, okay, I'm not the end all be all expert. I have some expertise. Like it is definitely, there are different ways of doing everything. The VAT thing scares me, but I mean, they'll eat the cost. It's not like they're going to charge it for you later. It says it's free there. So it's not something you should not back the game because of. I'm just worried about it from their standpoint. But overall, Alex says it's a fun game, and I tend to really like Alex's opinion, except for things about D&D. So I'm going to Kung Fu Panda. How dare I skip over the most epic IP of all, Robert? Kung Fu Panda. Agreed. Well, how did I do that? That's terrible of me. A lot of people saying wait for retail for them. I get it. Like, yeah, wait for retail if what you want is the base game. I don't think that you'll necessarily be able to get some of the things on here if you wait for retail. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the miniatures upgrade set will be available at retail. Cool. Dune RPG is not a bad one to have. I missed that one too, especially with the movie out. I haven't seen it yet. No spoilers. All right. Cool. Power plants. Moving right along to power plants. Sorry it took me so long. I'm going to try to bust through this in not 40 minutes. Toronto, Canada. This is Kids Table Board Gaming. If you do not know them, they have a pretty good track record here. They've got Creature Comforts, which I backed. They've got Fossils, which I didn't back, but I've seen a lot of gameplay of, and it looks incredible. I have not seen as much about their other games. I think they're a little older. I think Fossils was their breakout, and Creature Comforts was an awesome campaign. Where is Creature Comforts right now? How is that going? Let's look at updates. A short update. Power Plants is live. Completion date for Creature Comforts. We have a completion date. Today, our manufacturer is still only working 3 days a week because of rolling blackouts. Hey! No worries. I know what that's like. Will be completed by mid-November. They also confirmed that the games will be ready to ship in various regions in the world on November 15th. Yahoo! First stage of getting Creature Comforts to you confirmed. They are on an extremely similar timeline to Veiled Fate, and Alex knows why that's funny. Okay. Moving right along. Power plants. Okay, so I just want to geek out of this page for a while. I love the design on this page. I think, Alex, I'm not the owner of IV Games, and I know you know that, and you're just messing with me. All right. So, but thank you. I I'm just going to read the first part of your sentence and be flattered and not read the second part of your sentence. Okay. Power plants. I really like the design on this page. Okay, so you've heard me talk about in the past. There are some campaigns that embrace the limitations of Kickstarter, and that is the massive wall of white. And I think that this campaign does it really well. I love this opening graphic. A spellbinding game by Adam with magical art by Appeline and published with love by the KTBG family. This just looks really, really nice. I like the playfulness. I like the design. I like almost everything about it. The only thing I don't like about this in very initial part, and I can figure it out, but I didn't really realize that, okay, that's 1 to 5 players. This is the age. And I mean, the time was easy. I figured that one out. But like, it took me a second to be like, okay, 1 to 5, that has to be player count. 8+, okay, that has to be age. Nothing else told me about that. So they went for cute over clarity. But honestly, if you're a board gamer, you can get there. It's not terrible. All right. Magically gorgeous tile laying area control where you activate 1 big power of the plant you placed or several weaker powers to follow the plants next to the ones you placed. Zach talks all the time about how games need to have a powerful or compelling long line of just a sentence where you can tell people quickly what was amazing about it, right? And it's something we think we did well for Veiled Fate and probably could have done better on Mythic Mischief. All right. This is a really, really good one. Oh, Kevin. Ooh, 8+. That's lower than I usually see. I meant to talk about this. Kids table board gaming focuses obviously on kids, so they go lower with their age groups. All that means they do is they take a special look at their components, likely, I'm not positive, but I assume they do, to make sure they're not dealing with choking hazards. And then they look at their component materials a little bit closer, as well as also having to do extra tests during manufacturing to make sure they're meeting certain guidelines in the EU, in the UK, in the United States. So that's what they have to do to get there. But yeah, Aaron, what an elevator pitch. I'm going to read it again. Magically gorgeous tile layering area control where you activate 1 big power of the plant you placed or several weaker powers of all the plants next to the ones you placed. I know exactly how this game is played. I know why I will like it. I cannot believe how good this is. And it also looks like something Hat Show Print, which if you're not familiar, they're a poster making company here in Nashville, would print and put on their wall. Like, it is good. It is really good. I really, really like it. And I'm not going to finish talking about it. Let's just talk about it for the rest of the time I have. I have 13 minutes left and we're just going to sit here and we're going to talk about it. Okay, cool. Rahdo. This game is certainly simple, straightforward, but oh my gosh, it is crunchy. Richard Ham, of course, Rahdo. Good one. Click to see Rahdo's or Richard's final thoughts on the video. All right, power plants. We got the box image here. We've got some fun little flying thing here. Take a look at some of the beautiful components. This is just a more of like what's in the box thing. Language versions. Cool. The Deluxe Kickstarter edition of Power Plants will be available in several other languages in addition to English. You will be able to select your language in the Pledge Manager after the campaign. We're working to make deals with many partners. The confirmed languages so far are French, which they are making, Spanish, which Gen X is making, Italian, Czech, and Dutch. All right. So those logos underneath are the people that are acquiring. Basically, they're doing their own runs. They're translating, they're localizing, and in a lot of cases will do their own production runs of those games. That helps for a lot of different reasons. But yeah. Versions of Power Plant rules and cards in German will be made available as high quality PDF downloads. That one's weird to me. It's like, if you're doing all these, why not find a partner for this? I wonder if they will change that during the campaign. But yeah, it's something that at least they're trying to accommodate. All right. Yeah, we backed this right away. I don't remember what my backer level is, but I'm very excited about this game. Want your name to be in the game? Join the Spellbook event. Details shown at the bottom of the campaign page. Ooh, you want your name in it? I love things like this. They are just exuding like brand to me, which as a kids focused board game company, I was not expecting, right? I just really like the approach on this. All right. You are wizards. You are a wizard. Wizards cast spells. Spells need ingredients. We're going to skip this, but it gives you a little bit of the flow of the game, and it shows you some of the components. What's in the box? There's a deluxe Kickstarter exclusive edition. I think it's the only one. There's retailers. Retail. They did the classic pledge $5, and that's the retailer version, which I wish they had just not included it as a level, or if they had made it more expensive. There's the retail edition, so they do have it there. I wish the only two pledge levels were the retail edition and this, just because it's a weird thing to see first. Why? Well, you're not going to sell nearly as many retailer editions as you are just going to the general public. So seeing that first is a weird thing. And then if people are like, oh my gosh, are they selling it to the retailers for $5 Canadian? No, they are not. That is just the base level of entry in which they are asking retailers to pay to basically get into the pledge manager. So yeah, moving on from there. There's a custom insert from Trayforge. Who here has learned of Trayforge? I haven't. I have not heard of Trayforge. Am I a terrible person? Should I know who Trayforge is? Maybe they're trying to jump into the market and take over game trays. But anyway, basically a lot of upgraded. This watch for this space for more. Stretch goals marked with the symbol will be free in the Kickstarter edition only. So I like the clarity of that, right? I like seeing pretty quickly what's different between my version and what's different of my version and the retail version, right? So I like this a lot. I think that's very good. Okay, moving on. Pledge levels, the deluxe edition and the retail edition. They put the deluxe edition first. There are definitely probably reasons for that. I usually am just used to seeing cheaper than more expensive, but I think that they're really obviously trying to sell the deluxe edition on Kickstarter. That's why it's called the Deluxe Kickstarter edition. Cool. Stretch goals. Let's go ahead and look at that. Add-ons. Bugs on Rugs. This is a completely different game. I do not believe it is an expansion. No, it is not. So completely separate. Cool. Ooh, it's here again. Once your name in the game, join the spellbook event. All right. They're really wanting us to do that. I've seen it twice now. All right. What haven't we seen yet? We haven't seen a Why Back Now. But the Why Back Now kind of is the Kickstarter exclusive edition, right? So that's at least been hammered through there. We haven't seen a rule book or really how to play yet. We got some add-ons. Got some stretch goals. We've already crushed those stretch goals. And I like how they're adding these things in. So you see it's unlocked there. And we go on up here. And they've got these blue sections, teal sections that are the add-ons that they are getting as they're unlocked. They are on top of this page. It's very, very nice design. They're prepared for it. I really, really like how they're handling this. It's very obvious what's happening. And I'm not confused about the stretch goals at all. I feel like anytime I look at a GameFound page, and this is any GameFound page, I am confused at the stretch goals. I just don't understand it as fluently. Now, the same can be said about a bunch of Kickstarter pages. I'm thinking of 20 in my head. I'm not going to say who they are, but this is a very, very clear page. I really, really like this. Cool. Revealing more. So they only have 2 unlocks, and I think they've passed these now. 62,000. No, they have not. Well, I don't know what it is in Canadian. Hey, they just hit that one. 62.6. Yep, they just passed this. Huge deluxe upgrade. 80 custom wood gem tokens. Awesome. That's really neat. Okay, cool. How to play. Here we go. Is there going to be a rule book? There is. They're nailing this. How do you play? It's really a breeze. I can fly you right through it. See, it's got a lot of theme. I really like it. Yeah, Aaron saying I really liked the words they're using there. Bloomed, bagged it, gobbled it up, unearthed, sweetened, funded. Yeah, I like that as well. And the K for the Kickstarter release. Yep, or the Kickstarter edition. Agreed. I really like that as well. Either sprout the patch you added using its awesome sprout power or grow all the patches. We already know how to do this. We already read the top. That one sentence told us how to play. Cool. I'm going to crush through that. To view a lovely playthrough video of the Power Plants prototype, click here. Who did this? Oh no, that's not what we want to see. Helena Kappel. Good old ads. You can't even skip this ad. I hate YouTube. I need to just invest in the YouTube upgrade just for this show. Sorry, y'all. All right. Rulebook. And we already got solo rules. For the draft of the solo rules, click here. Still being refined, but lots of fun already. Really, really cool. I don't mind that they're not done yet. In fact, the people that are back in this campaign will help them finalize the solo rules. So that's great. Previews and reviews. If Hive grew fangs. Oh, that's a fun one. Family plays games. You're going to have some fun, but you're going to be beating up on some folks. We beat up on each other, but it was fun. Nice. Cool. Lots of familiar faces. Oh, look, a blue play button. Once again, KTBG once again does a great job balancing games accessible to families while remaining strategically engaging. Nice. That's a good quote. Did you give them that quote, Alex, or did they steal that from somewhere? I finally caved and paid for YouTube no ads too, Kevin. Yep, I'm gonna have to. I can't keep doing this where I just click on something. I'm like, dang it, I don't want to watch a 15-second ad while I'm streaming. All right, cool. Shipping. France is cheap. I think they're in France. Are they in France? No, they're in Canada. Why is France cheap? I don't know. I do not know. Where is Canada? Is Canada on here? It's too small. Also, man, okay. Canada is 20 Canadian dollars versus their cheaper ones. It's funny that their home country is one of their more expensive shipping places. But I mean, that's just global logistics. That's not their fault. Time to shipping hubs fulfilled by VFI varies. Oh, yes, it does. Okay. VAT and taxes will be calculated based on your region and will be charged in the backer kit after the campaign along with your shipping. Great. We'll be charging shipping and VAT after the campaign on our backer kit pledge manager. Shipping fees will not increase after the campaign. Shipping prices below are in Canadian. We provided a USD value. Thank you. Yeah, 14, 11. Yeah, $11 shipping. That's great. It's not a big game, but that's a great price. This is about as clear as a shipping table as you can get, except for it's too tiny. It's just the text is too small. But other than that, it's very, very nice as far as additional games. Is VAT paid? How is friendly shipping done? It says VAT again here. I really like that. And then, hey, we've been seeing all about this for a long time. Hey, Alex gave him that quote. That's why it was a great quote. Spellbook event. All this planning of powerful plants leads to one thing: magic spells. We are going to be prepping a spellbook pages to decorate the Kickstarter version's game box. This is your chance to show your imagination and get your idea on your name into the game art. There are 2 methods to get involved. Method 1, ingredient blends. Share your idea for an ingredient blend in the comment section on the main page. Your idea must have 2 parts. 1 part from a plant and from one other ingredient not from the game. A snapjaw pod and a Pegasus feather. This is fun. Honey leaf sap and a rusty nail. All right, so they give you all the different ingredient pieces, I think, here, right? Is there a honey leaf sap? Yep. Snapjaw pod? Yep. And then you get to add it to something else. This is so fun. I like this. But then number 2, to get in the game, spell names. So for the example of the ingredient blend, Snapjaw pod and Pegasus feather, you might say, my spell name is Hangry Birds. When you cast this spell, all the birds in the area swarm and peck at the target annoyingly. Someone else might also simply reply, Wand of Flying Gobblers. Both replies combine with the blend as separate entries. Cool. Really, really neat. What a fun way to build out the universe and let people have some fun. I like that a lot. Cool. Chris, I'm not going to comment on that, but that was hilarious. Age of Adam, cough, ad blocker, cough. Yeah, I know. I don't feel good about. I'm in marketing. I'm working in an animation studio that does a lot of advertising, so I don't feel good about it. But all right, cool, great campaign page. I've got 2 minutes to cover. Obviously, we're gonna go a little bit longer. Trinity of Rain. So really, really like this page. I think the game looks fantastic. One of the best 1-sentence how you plays and why you should be interested in it I've ever seen. So really, really good job by them. Great page. Competitive price. Like, there's just really no downsides. Did I have anything that I was like, oh, this isn't good? I don't think so. I don't think there are any negatives for me. Yeah. I think it'd be easy to get to my play group. This could easily be way, way, way higher than this, and I hope it gets there. But I am glad to see them funding at $20,000 above asking. I think this easily is a $100,000 campaign, hopefully $200,000 campaign, hopefully higher. Where are they used to getting to? I just closed that. Where did Creature Comforts get to? Creature Comforts was 528,000 Canadian. So was that 400,000 US? I don't know. 450,000 US. But cool. So it's a bad time to be launching games. It's really hard. Not only close to Christmas, but people are just kind of having fatigue. There's a lot of really good games that have launched recently. A lot of games are late. It's really, really hard out there for small publishers. we're very, very blessed that Mythic Mischief did 500 plus, and are just very, very thankful to y'all, to our community for supporting us in such a hard time, especially with Veiled Fate not having been delivered yet. And so get out there and support some people, especially at Creature Comforts, who, I mean, this page is off the charts. It's really good. But also, I really am excited about Elder Scrolls, so you should support that too. Trinity of Rain. All right. I want you to go support this. However, I do think it will cancel, which sucks. It just hasn't accelerated quickly enough. It has 111 backers on the first day. It's got a third of its funding goal on the first day. And I am sad about that because I think it has a lot of really cool things going for it. I will say that it is exasperated by how the campaign is set up, and I don't knock them for it. It's just kind of how it had to happen. But right away, like the really cool minis and stuff like that are not really included in the game until they get unlocked by stretch goals. And you won't even see those stretch goals until after 32,000. So I don't think there's much chance of them funding, even though I really, really want them to. All right, so let's talk about the page and who it is. It is brand new, first created. They've done 12 other backs, so good job to, I think it is the Bollinger Brothers. I think it's two guys. Together with my brother, my arch enemy when it comes to competitive gaming, Company for Strategic Board Games, our first publication, Trinity of Rain. Okay, so Raphael, I doubt you'll ever watch this, but I would love to talk to you. If anyone is connected with him, please connect us. I would love to talk to you about the campaign and talk to you about the game, because I think it does have some cool things going for it. All right, so let's talk about it. Right away, it's got a board that right away I was like, oh shoot, I hope this isn't too similar to a game that I'm working on, just because I saw it, I was like, that board could be like literally a board that we use. Luckily, very, very different games. I'm not worried about it at all, it being too similar, but I was right away like, oh shoot, that looks fairly similar to what a game that I'm working on could be. So cool. They have a lot of really cool city miniatures, right? And just miniatures in general. That's a bigger game as far as that goes. So some of the miniatures shown will only be included as part of our stretch goals and will otherwise come as wooden meeples. We can only produce them economically from a certain quantity. We have therefore decided to replace some plastic miniatures with wooden meeples and unlock the miniatures through stretch goals. So they're not going to get to do that, which really sucks. And I think they were worried about setting too high of a goal, right? It's like, all right, well, to actually make these molds is going to be, $5,000 per mold. It's a lot of money invested, right? Like people are like, oh, well, just add minis to your game, right? Well, minis, just a mini sculpt could be $2,000 to $3,000, and then $5,000 from the mold, and so you're $8,000 in the hole on a $100,000 campaign. It just doesn't make any sense, right? And that's why they've done this. But it is kind of weird that all of the marketing I've seen for it includes this. And it's one of the more unique parts of the game is you've got these nesting things. I do want to stop and pause and talk to Alex about this a little bit, because this is underperforming for them by a lot. There's no way I thought this wouldn't be at 200K by now. Trinity, this is a good game, and it shocked me. I agree. I thought this was going to be way higher. When I looked at it, I was like, oh man, they're only at 8,000. What's going on? I don't know the reason people aren't backing it. It's a first created, but there's a lot of first-time creators that did really well this year or in the last year. And I think it could just be the audience not being built in yet, and it's just being a really close to Christmas. It's not a great time to launch. Also, there's a lot of competition right now, a lot of really big games. But at the end of the day, it's sometimes really, really amazing games don't get funded, and that is really, really hard part about this. Like, you can make something amazing and it not get funded the first time, and I think they should kind of take a step back and look at why it didn't happen. So yeah. Oh, sorry, Alex. I'm glad you corrected that. He's saying this is underperforming by them a lot. There's no way I thought this wouldn't be at 200K. He was talking about power plants. Agreed. This is underperforming for them. Yeah, I hope it picks up, because it looks incredible. But everything's underperforming right now. It's like, unless your name is, Marvel, or come on, Simon even. All right, Trinity's a good game. Shocked me. To be clear, my first two sentences were about Cool. Just thank you for that, Alex. Thank you for clarifying. Okay. I am shocked that this is not doing better, to be clear, too. I'm not shocked. It is a first time created. I just was expecting it to be doing better. Okay. Moving on to things I liked. So they've got a pledge here. I think it is, okay, yeah, it's right around $90 US. So maybe that's it too. It's a first time creator with a pretty expensive game right off the bat, especially if you're not sure if you're going to be getting the wooden meeples or the plastic things. So I think a lot of this does come down to just that decision on how they priced this and how they've worked it out, where if a lot of the game is just wooden meeples, then the $87 price tag doesn't make sense. But if it is the plastics, then it does make sense. So I almost would have gone the Iridia route, maybe, where it's just like your minimum funding is higher. But then if you don't hit that the first day, then you're not going to fund then the other way. So it's a really hard spot to be in with an expensive game as a first time publisher. It's just not easy to do. So yeah, wanted to put that out there. Okay, overview of the game. So something that stood out for me, Alex and his preview of it, it kind of reminded me of talking about the Legends Academy, because people kept saying, oh, this game is broken, right? And it's like, well, if everything's broken, then nothing is. If you go to if everyone's super, then nobody is. If there are a lot of different ways to win, which in this game there are 3 different ways to win. There's religion, economics, and I think conquering. And so if there's, everyone feels a little bit broken, then if the game is balanced, it doesn't matter, right? And I think that is something that it would take a lot of plays to figure out. And I obviously have never played this game, so I don't know that. And that's one of those things with it being a first-time creator. If there's not that inherent trust, it's kind of hard to go in on it. Now, one thing I really like about the game is this is really cool, right? Like this, like building your city, building your capital is really, really neat. You're building towns, you're building castles. They all have different growing pieces. And I found that really, really cool. I've been seeing ads about this on social media things for a while now, with this like city growing and getting new towers and things. And so I find that to be really interesting, but I don't know how much of that is just going to be wooden meeples, right? Because of this important section here. And I think that is hurting them a good bit. You're brewing potions, which is the religion part of it. But yeah. Moving on. Can play on Tabletop Simulator, Discord. Let's do it. Got some quotes here. I don't know these people. Just making sure that's actually true. So I might want to see some quotes from people I do know. Yeah. Getting some logos and some names from familiar people are very helpful. All right. So it looks like the cities, the displayed content does not include any stretch goals, instead showing the wooden pieces for towns, walls, castles, metropolis, upgrades, soldiers, druids, and catapults. Like, it looks like the plastic pieces include your capital and not the like cities and castles and things that go out there, but your capital is included in that. And it's just kind of hard to tell what is and isn't. But you get to this, and this is really nice. How much of this is included? That all looks included. Province buildings. Okay, cool. So this is all included, and that's really the coolest part for me, is this part. Obviously, you'd want the province buildings to match. That would be those smaller ones, I bet. These would be the province buildings, and these are your capital. All right. Big old map. Punch out player screens. Gameplay. 3 winning conditions. We talked about that a little bit. Getting income. Mining resources. Want to get down to the stretch goals. They have a nice gameplay thing here. Is there a rule book? Okay, nice. There's the rule books. Stretch goals, campaign financed. So they're not showing you what it would take to get all those provincial buildings upgraded, to get all the characters upgraded to not be wooden. Okay, cool. Working with Long Pack. Long Pack's well respected. How to play. Rado's a good one to get for how to play. Hey, look, it's Alex. I watched a good bit of that one. All right. I'm cruising through this. All right. So end of the day on this. Sorry, I'm trying to go quick because I'm already 10 minutes over time. I think it looks really interesting, and I really want to play it. And it has some things in games that I really, really like. I think that the way they presented the plastics issue could have been clearer at the beginning. Be like, hey, these plastics are included. We're not making everything's not wooden. it's like these capital things that you saw in the ads are included already. This is the stuff that's not, because right away I think people might be reading that just be like, oh, okay, well, I'll come back and see how it's funding. It doesn't look like it's going to fund. I think they probably will end up canceling it. I hope they relaunch it. They restructure some things. They talk to people that backed and be like, hey, like what were some of the holdups, or talk to people that didn't back and like, hey, why didn't you back this? To kind of get more input, and then also just take time to build the audience a little bit more and get a little bit of momentum going, because it does look like they've put a ton of work into this, and I would love to see them succeed. A little bit about the team. Cool. Awesome. Well, I'd love to talk to them sometime. I'd love to talk to them after their second campaign is successful and do an interview about what they changed. That would be very fun. Cool. All right, everybody. Sorry that I have gone way over. I need to go mow my lawn because I am going on a road trip, and I need to do that before I leave. But yeah, I will be back in time to stream on Tuesday, but I will not be here for Ivy Games Weekly, and I don't think we're doing an Ivy Games Weekly this week. But yeah, thanks for checking it out. I hope I wasn't too negative. I'd love if you know me, message me directly on Discord if you want to talk about whether you liked some things or didn't like things. We're always trying to make this better. As a publisher, I think I was probably a little bit too down on the Skyrim campaign, and it was probably my fault for not being more prepared while I'm getting ready for going out. There were just a couple of things that surprised me, and when you're surprised by something, it's not as easy to react to it. So, but I am excited about the game. We are backing that game. I really love the video game, and so I think a lot of people that end up backing that game will be backing it because they already have that experience and they want to have more of that experience, but with their friends in person instead of on a video game. So, but yeah, cool. Thanks everybody for watching, and we will chat next week. I don't know what's launching next week. I haven't been paying attention. So if you know of something launching you want me to cover, send it to me. Chim, I didn't cover that one you sent me. Sorry. Maybe I'll cover it next week. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. See ya.